Therefore, imperative that such vessels are identified well beforehand by concerned agencies and not allowed inside Indian waters through concentrated inspection programs and may not be permitted to operate in unseaworthy conditions in Indian waters. Today, New Mangalore Port Authority is organizing a workshop on maritime adversities to create awareness and enhance the knowledge and to enhance the knowledge on maritime adversities, casualties, the role of ships and connected agencies like Indian Navy, Indian Coast Guard, DG Shipping, State Authority, District Disaster Management Authority, Department of Fisheries, Coastal Security, Police, MRPL, other stakeholders, and shipping agencies in maritime emergency management, as done in the previous years to alert all. This workshop aims to highlight clear cut duty and responsibilities of different government agencies towards a vessel in case of any maritime casualties so that port authorities should not be mistaken to be liable for any marine accident that may occur in port limit due to shortcomings in entities using port facility platforms for commercial gain, as there are activities which are undertaken under the direct watch of dedicated enforcement agencies of the country and not just the port authorities. On behalf of New Mangalore Port, I welcome you all once again in the workshop on maritime adversities and Indian Port Act 2025. Good morning, friends. We have the presence of Grace's presence of our respected Deputy Chairperson, Srimati Shanti Madam. Can we have a round of applause for our Madam Deputy Chairperson, S. Shanti Madam? In a short while from now, we are going to start this workshop on Maritime Adversities and Indian Port Act 2025. On behalf of New Mangalore Port Authority, I once again welcome you all for the workshop on Maritime Adversities and Indian Port Act 2025. Agenda of today's program is as follows. Inauguration, lighting of lamp, 2 minute silence in the honor of sacrifice done by the mariners.
Marco here, welcome back to another fingerpicking lesson. Today we're gonna have a look at the dead guard tuning, and I'm gonna show you the chord progression I was playing at the
Celebration,
beginning of
lighting
the
of
video.
lamp. 2 minutes silence in the honor of sacrifice done by mariner while in line of duty in Gulf conflict. Welcome address by Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator NMPA. Address by Chief Guest Shri Darshan HVIAS, District Commissioner Dakshina Kannada. Address by Guest of Honor Shri Nandakumar B. Pillai, Director Refinery MRPL. Address by Deputy Chairperson NMPA Srimati S. Shanti. Introduction of workshop by Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator NMPA. The first session of workshop is by Captain L.K. Panda, ex-nautical advisor, DG Shipping Government of India. Thereafter followed by maritime quiz. And second session of workshop is by Captain Anand W. Karkere, ex-Deputy Conservator Mumbai Port Authority. And a vote of thanks by Captain Shailendra Kumar, Harbour Master NMPA, followed by lunch.
आज अपने 50वें गौरवशाली वर्ष में न्यू मैंगलोर पोर्ट है तैयार। सागरमाला और अमृतकाल के विजन के साथ 2047 तक बनने के लिए 150 मिलियन टन क्षमता का विश्व स्तरीय पूर्णतः मशीनीकृत डिजिटल पोर्ट। न्यू मैंगलोर पोर्ट अथॉरिटी, 50 वर्षों की प्रगति, समुद्र से समृद्धि।
Indian shipping industry has demonstrated its astute resilience in the face of global and domestic challenges over several decades and continues to propel the country forward in the path of growth and prosperity. In the recent years, extreme weather events commonly attributed due to global warming and climate change have emerged as a cause of concern globally. The thickly populated sea coast of India, which supports a wide range of marine enterprises, are likewise threatened by fierce weather episodes and severe monsoon conditions, leading to various maritime adversities and casualties. As regard to maritime safety, port, state control, and state maritime board regimes have contributed immensely in reduction of loss of lives and damage to property and environment to see through structures vessel inspection exercises. The west coast of India has witnessed a marked increase in the frequency and severity of severe weather cyclone phenomenon in the past few years. This causes heightened risk to any substandard non-complying vessel flying in these waters which may not be able to withstand the harsh weather and severe monsoon conditions. Marine accident can cause huge loss of lives and assets and result in widespread environment damage. It is therefore imperative that such vessels are identified well beforehand by concerned agencies and not allowed inside Indian waters through concentrated inspection programs and may not be permitted to operate in unseaworthy conditions in Indian waters. Today, the New Mangalore Port Authority is organizing a workshop on maritime adversities to create awareness and enhance the knowledge on maritime adversities, casualties, the role of ships and connected agencies like Indian Navy, Indian Coast Guard, DG Shipping, State Authority, District Disaster Management Authority, Department of Fisheries, Coastal Security Police, MRPL, other stakeholders, and shipping agencies in maritime emergency management as done in the previous years to alert all. This workshop aims to highlight clear-cut duty and responsibility of different government agencies towards a vessel in case of any maritime casualties so that port authorities should not be mistaken to be liable for any marine accident that may occur in the port limit due to shortcomings in entities using port facilities platforms for commercial gain, as there are activities which are undertaken under the direct watch of dedicated enforcement agencies of the country and not just port authorities. In a 10 minutes of time, we expect our Deputy Commissioner Dakshina Kannada, Shri Darshan HV IAS, Chief Guest of today's function. On the arrival of Chief Guest, we will begin the program. As a part of 63rd National Maritime Day celebration, National Maritime Day Celebration Committee New Mangalore Port Authority has conducted various events. It started with cricket match on 28th, then treasure hunt on 29th, beach cleaning on 30th, followed by tug of war. And yesterday on 31st, we had blood donation camp. Today we are having maritime seminar, and tomorrow essay competition, drawing competition, throwball competition, and the third of this month we will have radio talk and port visit, and the fourth we have marathon, and the fifth we have rath lying, and valedictory function will be on 5th of this month at 5:30 p.m. at JNC Hall. I request all of you to kindly attend this valedictory function on 5th April 2026. These were the few clippings of various programs conducted as part of the 63rd National Maritime Day. On the arrival of Chief Guest of today's function, Sri Darshan HV IAS, District Commissioner Dakshina Kannada, we will start the program. In a short while now, we are expecting Chief Guest of today's function, Sri Darshan HV IAS, District Commissioner Dakshina Kannada. The agenda of today's program is as follows: Inauguration, lighting of lamp, 2-minute silence in the honor of sacrifice done by mariners while in the line of duty in the Gulf conflict. Welcome address by Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator. Address by Chief Guest Sri Darshan HV IAS, District Commissioner, Dakshina Kannada. Address by Guest of Honor Sri Nandakumar B. Pillai, Director, Refinery MRPL. Address by Deputy Chairperson NMPA Srimati S. Shanti. Introduction of workshop by Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator. First session by Captain L.K. Panda, ex-nautical advisor, DG Shipping, Government of India, followed by Maritime Quiz. Second session by Captain Anand Karkere, ex-Deputy Conservator, Mumbai Port Authority. Vote of thanks by Captain Shailendra Kumar, Harbour Master, NMPA, followed by lunch. In a short while from now, we are going to start today's workshop on maritime adversities and Indian Port Act 2025. Chief guest of today's program, Shri Darshan HV, IAS District Commissioner, Dakshina Kannada, is arriving in a short while from now. Chief guest of today's program, Shri Darshan HV, IAS District Commissioner, Dakshina Kannada have arrived. Friends, can we have a round of applause to our chief guest of today's function, Shri Darshan HV, IAS. May I request the dignitaries kindly adore their seats in the dais. I request all the dignitaries kindly adore the seats on the dais. I request Captain Anand Karkera to take seat on the dais. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you all. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the Maritime Seminar on Maritime Adversities and Indian Port Act 2025, organized by New Mangalore Port Authority as a part of 63rd National Maritime Day celebration. Ports are the backbone of global trade, facilitating the movement of cargo and passengers and enabling international coastal and cruise shipping. In India, nearly 95% of trade by volume, 70% by value is transported through maritime routes, highlighting the critical importance of this sector. According to UNCTAD Statistics 2023, the global maritime industry comprises over 1,18,928 vessels with approximately 1.48 billion gross tonnage, reflecting its vast scale and significance. We are proud that New Mangalore Port, since its inception in 1974, has been a vital contributor to this global network and has recently celebrated its golden jubilee year. I am delighted to share that just concluded financial year 25-26, New Mangalore Port has achieved its highest ever cargo throughput of 50.04 million tons as a milestone made even more special as it coincides with our 50th year. New Mangalore Port handles over 1,400 vessels annually and recently marked the handling of 40,000 vessels MT Apollo Ocean carrying most in demand cargo LPG. This remarkable achievement reflects the dedication, teamwork, and excellence of Team NMPA and all stakeholders. Today's seminar on maritime adversities and Indian Port Act 2025 brings together distinguished domain experts who will share insight on maritime challenges and contingencies, roles and responsibility of stakeholders, preventive strategies and emergency response system, key provision of Indian Port Act 2025. On behalf of NMPA, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all the participants. Friends, we are honored to have with us on dais Srimati S. Shanti, Deputy Chairperson NMPA, President of today's function, Shri Darshan HV, IAS Deputy Commissioner, Dakshina Kannada, as Chief Guest, Shri Nandakumar V. Pillai, Director Refinery MRPL as Guest of Honor, Shri Ubaidur Rahman, Surveyor in Charge MMD Mangalore, Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator NMPA. We are also privileged to have eminent speaker Captain L.K. Panda, former Nautical Advisor, Government of India, Captain Anand Karkera, former Deputy Conservator, Mumbai Port Authority. Let us have a big round of applause to all the distinguished on the day. Light symbolizes knowledge, prosperity, and positivity. May I request our Chief Guest Shri Darshan HV IAS and Guest of Honor Shri Nandakumar V. Pillai to kindly inaugurate the seminar by lighting the ceremonial light. I request all the dignitaries kindly join. I request all the dignitaries kindly join for lighting of lamp. Shubham karoti kalyanam arogyam dhanasampadam Shatrubuddhi vinashaya Deepajyotir Namastute. Deepajyoti Parabrahma Deepajyoti Janardana. Deepo me haratu papam Deepajyoti Namastute. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Thank you, sir and madam, for inaugurating the workshop by lighting up the lamp. Friends, in light of the ongoing crisis in West Asia, we remember with deep respect the mariners who lost their lives in the line of duty. I request everyone kindly rise for observe 2 minute silence in their honor. Thank you all. May the brave souls rest in peace. Now I invite Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator NMPA, to formally welcome the gathering.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। सबसे पहले तो मैं आप सबसे क्षमा प्रार्थी हूँ क्योंकि हमारा प्रोग्राम करीब 45 मिनट लेट चल रहा है, इसलिए मैं ज़्यादा समय नहीं लूँगा। हमको कहीं तो कट शॉर्ट करना पड़ेगा, तो मैं अपने से ही कट शॉर्ट कर रहा हूँ। तो आज के सभागृह में मंच पे आसीन हमारे सभी गणमान्य, हमारे सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स, मेरे साथी लोग, नॉर्मली हम लोग ये सेमिनार जस्ट मॉनसून के पहले करते हैं, लेकिन इस बार हमने कुछ नया करने की कोशिश की। ये जो मैरीटाइम वीक है, इसके साथ ही हमने उसको क्लब कर लिया। और क्योंकि DCDK इज़ द चेयरमैन ऑफ द डिस्ट्रिक्ट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट, सो ये एक परिपाटी है कि इस सेमिनार में हम डिस्ट्रिक्ट डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट अथॉरिटी को भी इन्वॉल्व करते हैं। तो आज का ये सेमिनार बेसिकली दो चीज़ों पर रहेगा। एक तो मैरीटाइम एडवर्सिटीज़, और हाल फिलहाल में तो क्योंकि आप समाचार देख रहे होंगे, ये और भी ज़्यादा हम लोगों के लिए जानने के लिए आवश्यक हो जाता है कि मैरीटाइम फील्ड में क्या क्या चैलेंजेज आ सकते हैं। इसके साथ ही 2025 में नया इंडियन पोर्ट एक्ट आया है, तो सभी स्टेक होल्डर्स को उससे वाकिफ़ कराने के लिए हमारे साथ में मेरे सीनियर और इस प्रोफेशन के मेरे गुरु कैप्टन करकरे यहाँ पर हैं। उनका नाम हालांकि करकेरा इन्होंने बना दिया, बट गैदरिंग टू नो इज़ कैप्टन आनंद करकरे। सो with this I'll take a pause and to continue the program here.
May I request Deputy Chairperson Srimati Shanti Madam to present a plant to our chief guest of today's program, Shri Darshan HB IAS District Commissioner, Dakshina Kannada, and welcome to this program. I request Shri Veera Raghavan FNCO to welcome Shri Nandakumar V. Pillai, Director, Refinery, MRPL. May I request Dr. Sureka Hoskeri, Chief Medical Officer, to welcome our Deputy Chairperson, Srimati Shanti. May I request Shri S.B. Lagwankar, Chief Engineer Civil, to present a plan to Captain L.K. Panda and welcome to this program. May I request Shri Jijo Thomas, Secretary, to welcome Captain Anand Karkare and to welcome to this program. May I request Shri Deepak Rath, Chief Mechanical Engineer, to present a plan to Shri Ubaidur Rahman, Surveyor in Charge, MMD Bangalore. May I request Captain Shailendra Kumar to present a plan to Shri Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator, and welcome to this program. We also extend a warm welcome to board members, heads of departments, senior officers, port users, steamer agents, stevedores and shore handling agents, stakeholders, and all esteemed participants. Now it's time to
Since DCDK has requested that he has to leave for some urgent meeting at 11, so just changing little bit of the format, I would request DCDK to please address the gathering.
Thank you very much, Joshi ji. Very good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries on stage, all the respected board members of NMPA, my dear officials of NMPA, and my dear friends who are here for this seminar. So today's seminar on basically on the disaster management, me being the chairperson of the disaster management of the district. So it's always such kind of interaction where we try to pass on certain messages and also get certain suggestions from your end. So in my very limited span of 6-7 years of tenure in the field, we have seen a lot of disaster, not just COVID. I have seen floods, 2 floods in Belgaum. I have seen 1 drought, COVID, of course, 3 waves, got COVID twice, saw a lot of, COVID patients succumbing to their, because of the disease and other complications. Saw a disaster where it involved a series of accidents on the national highway, which of course can be categorized as a disaster. There was a burning of a big factory, which was due to negligence of certain people. There was a fire incident that involved a lot of forest areas, houses, and which finally led to death of many animals, which was there. A disaster that happened because of there was some leakage initially in the check dam, which finally gave in, and a lot of crops were damaged. Almost 2 villages were affected in a more like a flash flood. And of course, last but not the least, due to human error that we still see today, whether it is a railway accident or road accident, anything related to maritime and other things, and of course the present war that is happening in the world, where India is directly and indirectly getting affected. From our point of view, disaster is something which we categorize into 2 different aspects. One is, of course, man-made. The second one is natural. So let me just stick to the natural part of it. Whenever we call something as a natural disaster, whether it's an earthquake, floods, droughts, or anything, we have a very, systematic standard operating procedure that we normally follow. To give one example, when we have floods, we make sure that, the gradation of that particular area is already done. then we already know the mapping, which is the highest point, which is the lowest point, which are the areas that will be inundated, and what are the measures that we from the government side should take, and where are we shifting the people who are affected, and how are we providing them food, shelter, and any medical supplies needed, and how are we making sure that there is a proper connectivity, both telecom and also physical connectivity. So it's a very standard operating procedures. The same thing goes for forest fires. The same thing goes for any fire related to building, and of course drought and other things. But it is very difficult to prepare ourselves when it is man-made. For example, just like what we are seeing here today, due to the war, there are so much of indirect effect that is happening. Every person in the district, in the state, in the country will be affected if there is a global consequence where India is, of course, much dependent on that. And every time we get a new shipment of oil, everybody celebrates. That's how it is there. The first priority is always on the domestic front. The second priority is on the commercial front. Then the third, if something is placed, we categorize all these supplies based on certain priorities. So, few days back, we were just having a talk on this regarding security also, maritime security, of course. How are we going to do it? Is there anything that the government should do, district administration should provide? Or whether it is CSF, which normally takes into it, is it enough? Another thing. So that is the kind of minute preparation we do, not only for the damage control, but for also future learning and making sure that certain standard operating procedures are in place where both you and us can actually adhere to in the future when we come across such kind of similar or not so similar disaster areas that we'll normally look into. So I haven't gone through the recent Ports Act that was there, but now that this is being discussed, we might be having the privilege of going through it and having a discussion with the team later. So what I request from all of you is, this is not just a seminar. This is, of course, a platform for information dissemination. I think for the next 2-3 hours of interaction, we not only would like to hear from you guys, but we also want to pass on a lot of messages through you to the other public. So all I want to say at this point is, no matter what kind of disaster that we come across, even in the future, we should all be prepared. Every common person should be prepared for such kind of disaster. And me as a representative of the government will be able to facilitate uh, such kind of interventions that are required to overcome all such things. So having said this, in this globalized world, especially with respect to maritime security, we, being one of the 3 districts in Karnataka, which has the privilege of having access to the sea, we cater to a lot of regions that are inland, whether it is gas or petroleum or any other petroleum related products, any import one, especially technologically oriented import products. So that is how we actually come across with the security of our shipping lanes, security of the products that are inside, and of course, once it is there, from here to the final destination that actually goes to. Now, with a lot of globalization that we see as of now, it is not just the product that we import, we also import a lot of biodiversity related aspects. We have weeds, we have, for example, lantana carmera is something that was not here. Now it has spread throughout our forest, where we are striving hard to get rid of that plant. So every time a ship docks here or somewhere else, there is an exchange of living things that actually happen. This is something that very minutely certain studies have been happening, where we are also a part of it as the representative of district administration. So these are the minute details that we go through to make sure that our society and our people feel safe, and we are ready for any kind of adversities that can actually come in the near future. So having said this, I wish all of you good luck in the coming future. And all the best for the speakers and the presenters and everyone. So hope this will be a very good session with respect to disaster management, maritime security, and of course the new Ports Act that has come up with. So thank you very much for having me here. It is always a pleasure to attend such kind of seminars. And after this seminar, I'm more than happy to have interaction with the deputy chairperson and also Captain Joshi ji, regarding what kind of coordination that we can do, not only in the present status, but also in the future things. And thank you very much for all the speakers who are here, representatives of different walks of life, and everyone who have attended here. Thank you very much for having here. Have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your importance of this workshop. And may I request Deputy Conservator Captain Manoj Joshi to present a memento to our chief guest Sri Darshan HVIAS as a token of appreciation. Thank you very much, sir, in your busy schedule for attending this program. Thank you very much, sir, being here in spite of your busy schedule and being part of this program. Thank you very much. Friends, we are grateful to MRPL for its continued support, contributing significantly to our record cargo performance. Now, may I request Sri Nandakumar V. Pillai, Director Refinery MRPL, to address the gathering.
President of this program, Deputy Chairperson Srimati S. Shanti, Chief Guest of today's program, Deputy Commissioner DK District Sri Darshan, HV IAS, Deputy Conservator Captain Manoj Joshi, Captain LK Panta, ex-Nautical Advisor, DG Shipping Government of India, Captain Anand Karkare, ex-Deputy Conservator Mumbai Port Authority, Sri Ubaidur Rahman, Chief Surveyor MMD, other senior officials from NMPA, my colleagues, other industry leaders, esteemed delegates, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. Let me first congratulate NMPA to exceed their last year cargo volume and achieving more than 50 million ton cargo traffic last financial year. I'm happy to add that we also gained a lot in that glorious collaboration. And last year, through MRPL, about 346 vessels came to port. And as of midnight yesterday, we handled about 23.4 million ton of cargo. So these figures highlight our critical dependence on the port. And without port, MRPL just can't exist. And in this context, we take NMPA as our extended arm, as a critical partner in our success. So anything that comes up as a new development, a new initiative of NMPA is of significant importance to us, and we will be trying to support as much as possible. And as you all know, the Iran-Israel war, I wouldn't want to say tension, it's a minor word for that. It's a real war happening. And more than the actual conflict zone, all other economies are getting the brunt. So this is one of the adversaries we are facing. We thought disaster management generally confined to the physical damages or anything happening to our proximity. But this is happening thousands of kilometers away. Still, we are greatly affected. The Strait of Hormuz, which takes the major throat of the cargoes from the Middle East, the Asian Gulf, Arabian Gulf, has been virtually stopped. And I understand just some statistics that almost 3,000 vessels are still inside the Hormuz Strait, waiting for some kind of clearance, though they are telling that it will be allowed, but nobody knows. There were damages happened due to this war. And as you know, the oil price just doubled. From February, it was something like $69 per barrel. As of March, the average was 128. Just doubled, right? You can imagine what kind of impact it will have economically. Everything. In fact, international market, diesel is the most priciest commodity today. It's even costlier than any petrochemical. And again, it's a very strange situation that oil is available at the load port, but it cannot cross. And there are the other alternate port which has come in the Red Sea. Even there, certain threats have been posed. And the other side of it, there are some seafarers daring to cross that Red Sea zone. And in fact, some of them even offered to cross the Hormuz itself. But there are challenges. The ship and the seafarers willing to cross, but there is something we need to take called insurance. And the cargo insurance, which is the sole business of the charterer, it has spiked. In fact, spiking is a minor word. It has skyrocketed. Earlier, the cargo insurance supposed to be 0.25 to 0.3% of the cargo cost. Now, anybody is quoting 5 to 15% of the cargo volume, and with a lot of riders. What we called as the additional war risk premium is nowadays is estimated to the north of 100 crores per cargo. And that too, there are again strange conditions. If for whatever reason the window is closed or missed and we couldn't load for whatever reason that there was some conflict, he says you forgo that money. It's a huge risk. Who will take that risk of 100 crores without no assurity of whether we will get the cargo itself? These are the huge risks suddenly coming up. So more than the physical risk, we are facing the economical risk of that situation. So we are happy to inform that we are still running the refinery at near about 120% of its capacity. We try to source crude oil from whichever part. All we are seeing it is available and it can reach. And regarding the domestic product supply, as we all know that LPG becomes one of the most crucial supply as far as fuel is concerned. We have jacked up our production by almost 30%. So we are making of the order of something close to 45 lakh kg per day. So that is a big sum. It comes close to almost 10 lakh cylinders per day kind of production we are making. And the challenges still continue and nobody knows what happens. I mean, it depends on certain person declaring that morning when he wakes up what he will do. So we never know what is the situation happening, but we have to be ready for that. We have to ensure that the responsibility of supply of fuel and critical infrastructure is there with us, and that's our duty as a public sector organization to ensure that, along with the NMPA, that these critical supply and logistics are happening without any interruption. And coming to the today's theme of other adversaries, what I believe that the way forward lies in resilience and collaboration. It demands building flexible and robust supply chains. One incident cannot choke us. We need to have alternate routes. And other things, leveraging digital technologies and smarter port operation. I understand that NMB has taken long strides in this arena. Further, we will be taking it forward. And as our respected DC said, strengthening disaster preparedness and response systems. Probably we, in spite of best efforts, there can still be disaster. There can be still natural calamities. But it depends how we react, how prepared we are. That is the key in handling that. And above all, embedding a strong culture of safety. Safety, more than any rules and SOPs and other things, should be part of our culture. Like today, we greet somebody, we greet a senior, we how we behave in social forums. That kind of cultural, what do I say? It should be ingrained in our culture, so that the way we deal professionally, anything starts with safety and ends with safety. That should be our culture. So, coming to the end, I thank NMPA for giving me an opportunity to be here in this August forum. And I wish this seminar every success and look forward to the valuable perspective that the ensuing discussions will bring. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your informative and valuable insight. Now, may I request Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator, to present a memento to Sri Nandakumar V. Pillai, Director, Refinery, MRPL, as a token of love and appreciation. Now, may I request our Deputy Chairperson, Srimati Shanti Madam, who is instrumental in achieving a milestone of achieving over 50 million metric ton of cargo in this concluded financial year, to address the presidential address.
Good morning to all. First of all, before I say about this maritime adversities, I, from bottom of my heart, thank all the stakeholders, port users, my officers, board members, employees, each one of you present here and who was not present also, for having helped NMPA to achieve the ever-time high of 50.04 MMT during this Golden Jubilee financial year. I at this time recall my earlier chairman who has already challenged that NMPA will be achieving this 50 MMT. I also thank him for having kept the confidence on the NMPA employees and officers. I have to say definitely a special thanks to MRPL, because every time at the end of the year we go to them with a lot of requests to ensure that we achieve the target. Though they were having a lot of other pressures, they had cooperated with my traffic team and helped us to achieve this milestone. Thank you, sir. And we also request that to continue the same support by the port users, stakeholders and MRP and other team with the NMPA to achieve much more laurels in the years to come, because this is only a stepping stone. There are a lot of projects coming up in NMPA. We are already going for berth number 9 refabrication, which will increase the draft as well as the cargo capacity to 10.5 million tons. The berth number 13 is going to be given to a captive user, so that we'll have another berth for others, which is congested. Berth number 17, which was held up for some reasons, will be shortly also be invited for tender. I request all the port users to give a lot of advertisements to other people to participate in the Triple P tender, and also you to bring cargo more to NMPA. And now coming to this maritime adversities, we had heard to the district commissioner saying about many other disaster management. The only difference between those things and maritime adversities, what I find is that in case of those disasters, we get lot of support from the public, from the media, from the government, and awareness also is easily spread upon. But coming to maritime adversities, it is not so. Very few people are involved in this. That is not known to many people. That is why every year we require a seminar to know. And especially when you're in mid-sea, where there is no communication, where is no any other thing. There are so many, as you were saying about the P&I insurance, other things. So there's more important for you people who are involved in this industry to know about the maritime adversities. I also congratulate Deputy Conservator who had been always taking interest to ensure that his part of the area is spread among the port users to see that there is no adversities that is coming up in port sector. So I also thank for district commissioner for having spared this time. So because I was very busy, but still he thought this is very much important. So he thought all the way to come here at least for 10 or 15 minutes, give you the address so that we get the boost of energy for the same. At the same time, I also thank our director MRPL, the Captain Karkare, and other people, Mr. LK Panda, MMD Surveyor, all other people here. Sir, our maritime history predates the birth of Western civilization. The world's first tidal dock is believed to have been built at Lothal on the Gujarat coast around 2300 BC during the Harappan civilization. Since time immemorial, Indians have displayed a remarkable interest in seafaring and maritime activities. Our shipbuilding industry had shown great progress during the age of sailing, ships with wooden hulls. Our ships traded with countries are as far as sailing ships with wooden hull of countries as far as Java and Sumatra, and available evidence indicates that we were also trading with other countries in the Pacific and Indian Ocean. Trades of this volume could not have been conducted over the countries without appropriate navigational skills. The 5th of April is a landmark date in the navigation history of India. It is celebrated every year as a National Maritime Day. Indian shipping embarked on its maiden voyage on this day in 1919 when India's first merchant vessel, the SS Loyalty, owned by the Scindia Steam Navigation Company, journeyed from Mumbai to London. National Maritime Day promotes the need for secure, safe, and efficient maritime transport. It highlights the importance of protecting maritime ecosystems and fostering sustainable green shipping practices. It serves to raise awareness about the importance of the shipping industry in international trade. It focuses on the future of maritime, often highlighting initiatives like the Maritime India Vision. The day honors the hard work, resilience, and contribution of seafarers to the economy. This day encourages youth to explore careers in the merchant navy and maritime sector. India is turning its vast coastline into canvas of possibilities. With Maritime India Vision 2030, the nation is not just building ports, it's building future, empowering millions with jobs, skills, and sustainable growth. This is India's moment to rise as a global maritime leader, proving that vision, strategy, and determination can take waves into pathways of prosperity. In shipping lanes that carry the world's oil and cargo, India is determined to secure the place not as a passenger but as a navigator of the future. The Maritime Amritkal Vision 2047 extends this journey further from green ports and aligning economic growth with environmental responsibility and global leadership. As the world looks to resilient supply chain and clean energy transitions, India's maritime sector is poised not just to serve national interests but to shape the very currents of the global trade in the decades to come. India's maritime sector is entering a decisive decade with new laws, mega projects, and global investment ambitions shaping the Maritime India Vision 2030. The strong focus on green technologies and digital innovation, India is preparing to not only meet its trade demands but also emerge as a maritime leader. Building onto its foundation is the Maritime Amritkal 2047, a long-term roadmap for India's maritime resurgence with investments of nearly 80 lakh crore earmarked for ports, coastal shipping, inland waterways, shipbuilding, and green shipping activities. The government is driving sustainable maritime operations by setting up green corridors, introducing green hydrogen bunkering at major ports, and promoting the use of methanol fuel vessels. Outlining more than 300 actionable initiatives, its projects, India raised as one of the world's top maritime and shipbuilding powers by the centenary of independence. Under the New Mangalore Port Authority, 8 significant maritime development projects have been launched recently, out of which construction of a dedicated cruise gate for international tourists and establishment of a 150-bedded hospital already has been completed, among others, to enhance user experience and operational capacity. These developments exemplify the commitment to creating a future ready maritime ecosystem that fosters trade, tourism, and economic resilience. Implementation of Green Port Guidelines 2330 to reduce carbon footprints is also one among them. New Mangalore Port Authority has already recognized the value of renewable energy and has installed a 4 megawatt solar power plant, making it a self sustained port. Systems like Sagar Samruddhi, Sagar Manthan, and Sagar Setu app are enhancing the operational efficiency. Our youth are the architects of a sustainable future. By embracing green technologies and supporting responsible businesses, they can balance economic progress with environmental well being, where development and sustainability go hand in hand. Thank you and have a good day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind, Jai Karnataka.
Thank you, madam, for sharing the history of evaluation of maritime industry and its importance. Friends, with this inauguration of workshop on maritime adversities and Indian Port Act 2025, next we will begin the education session. I request the dignitaries kindly come down and take the seats on the front row so that we can start the education session. Now I invite Captain Now I request Captain Manoj Joshi, Deputy Conservator NMPA, to brief us on the importance of today's workshop.
I think enough has spoken, and we are delayed by almost an hour by the schedule. So I'll not speak much, but I want to share one good news with you all people. This is a wonderful way of celebrating a birthday. Today is the birthday of our respected deputy chairperson. So she has got gift from all of you of 50 million ton. Now you have to wait what you get in the return gift. So yeah, please carry on.
Now we will take a short tea break of 5 minutes. Then we will assemble for the listen to our eminent speakers on the subject. We'll After tea break, the first speaker would be Captain L.K. Panda. Will speak on maritime adversities and stakeholders' roles. I request everyone to kindly join for tea break and return in a 10 minutes of time.
Very simple, that shipping ports are the key element to logistics, supply chain, and the changing trend of the UNCTAD report on India's increasing EXIM trade. Today, we carry only about 7% of our EXIM trade on our Indian bottom. It's just a matter of time with the Honorable Prime Minister's push to the maritime sector. We hope that we can reach a double figure. So when we talk about double figure, that means the number of ships calling at our ports is definitely going to increase by 1.5 times. As it is, the number of ships going through our or going close to our coast is enormously high. Enormously high. Almost 30% of the world's energy passes precariously close to our coast. And we have a fantastic coast on the east and as well as on the west. And the beauty is that our coast is very close to lovely islands on the Lakshadweep and the Nicobar, where we have live corals. When we have 30% of the world's energy passing precariously close to our coast, along with at least 2 lakh fishermen on the coast, anything can happen. That requires efforts from everyone to ensure that we don't have any problem. Now, trade growth, as I said, that it's very linked to the geopolitical economic policies and indicates an increase in bulk and oil trade. The Ukrainian conflict has given rise to the dark fleet, where accountability is a thing of past now. Very recently, we have observed 3 vessels which were doing the STS operation. Thank God that the STS operation was going on all right. But anything could have happened. And with the geopolitical situation and the things happening on the coast in Persian Gulf, we'll not be surprised that we have more and more such operations going in or around our coast. The green transition and decarbonization, the CII rating, carbon intensity index rating, has put almost 60% of the vessels in category E. When I talk about category E, that means these ships, if they don't improve within a period of 1 year, they will be moving into areas where there are less inspection. And Asia is known to have less inspections. So that means we are going to have more and more ships coming to our coast, not so good as far as technical elements are concerned, beside the doubt with respect to their flag, with respect to their ownerships. There is a big problem about effective control and monitoring. Are we monitoring our ships that are coming to our coast? Do we have effective control on number of ships that are coming to our coast? When I say control, means you can't control the maritime trade. Ships have a right of innocent passage, provided, of course, they are innocent, so far as flag is concerned, so far as cargo is concerned, so far as persons are concerned. But do we have enough control on such ships which are passing close to our coast? Even if they are passing close to our coast, what happens to the ships which are doing the STS operations? Anything can happen there, because if there is a pollution knows no boundaries. And with 2 good monsoon, happening, one the northeast and the other southwest, and the current moving in a clockwise manner and anti-clockwise manner. It's just a matter of time when the pollution is going to hit our coast. We have seen the tankers, we have seen the containers from the MOL ship near Socotra Island landing up on our west coast. Just imagine the movement of disaster which has happened over 1,000 miles away, just knocking our coast. Now, when we talk about these casualties can happen. They can happen within the port, they can happen within the harbor limits, they can happen within the coastal limits, and in inland waters also. The casualties or the adversities can come because of ship collision, the water ingress, and the sinking. Operational or accidental pollution, fire, salvage, engine failure, dragging up anchorage, rescue, abandonment, etc., etc. What I've tried to portray here is that the maritime adversities can be of many types because of geopolitical situation, because of the weather, because of war, because of piracy. But those incidents, let's leave it for our security forces to take care. Let's discuss the subjects or the issues that arise because of the ships or because of the commercial ships which are coming to our coast, and what all problems they can create. We have observed during the monsoon time a lot of ships getting grounded and abandoned. Ships catching fire in the port, ships catching fire at the anchorage because of many reasons, one of the prime reason being that the misdeclaration of cargo. We have also observed that container ships, when they are loading or they are discharging, they have toppled because of misdeclaration of cargo. Despite the IMO bringing in, or Government of India bringing in new measures with respect to verified gross mass, still there have been a lot of misdeclarations leading to different casualties. Now, when these casualties take place, I'll call, instead of adversities, I'll call them casualties, marine casualties. That is the common term that is used in the maritime field. Now, when these casualties take place, who is the nodal agency? And what to do? And what legislation is to follow? So this is the basic guidance I have prepared. Based on different legislations, we have, so far as Government of India is concerned, the new Inland Vessel Act has come, where every state is supposed to enact. I'm not very sure whether the state of Karnataka has already enacted in its legislation or not, but being a consultant to the state of Gujarat Maritime Board, we have enacted quite a few part of the Inland Vessel Act. Then the whole Merchant Shipping Act was amended, not amended, it was made anew. The new Merchant Shipping Act has come into force. The major port authority thing has come in 2021, I presume, and the IPA has come last year. So the new legislation has come as far as different sectors are concerned. But how are they to be implemented? The coastal waters beyond the port limit, if any incident takes place, then who is responsible? The DGS as MS Act rules defines each agency for coastal state ICG, the Indian Coast Guard, the Navy, and the ministry concerned are required to look after. There have been a lot of discussion on this issue. Not only during the last year's conference, I recall every agency trying to do their best, of course, all in good faith, but without knowing the limitation. However, there is an essential element to understand where the authority of one agency begins and where it ends. Otherwise, there will be confusion and overlapping of each other's authority. The Navy, the Coast Guard have been vested with certain authorities. The port has certain authorities, and the state has certain authorities. The state has got certain authorities under the Disaster Management Act, under the Coastal Waters, and in accordance with the Merchant Shipping Act, the new Merchant Shipping Act. And similarly, the Coast Guard is vested with an authority so far as search and rescue is concerned, so far as medical exigencies are concerned, and in accordance with the new NOS DCP, that National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Planning. That has given a responsibility to the port authorities what they are supposed to do. For example, every pollution has been graded tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3, and every port is supposed to have its own SOP, own preventive measures. But now the issue comes is that what happens if the pollution is outside the port limit but enters the port limit later? What do we do? So obviously, a close coordination is essential, and there has to be a SOP. There has to be a very close liaison between the two agencies, that is the Coast Guard as well as the port, and of course, the state authorities thereafter. So when we are dealing with any maritime adversity with respect to grounding, with respect to pollution, with respect to search and rescue, a close coordination of all agencies is essential to avert such disaster. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to handle. Now, major ports within the port limits to be guided in accordance with the IPA. IPA, my colleague will discuss. And under the Major Port Act, which has changed again. Now, as far as the cargo entities are concerned, it's very clear that such cargo entities should ensure that the ship which is entering the port or where they are booking their cargo, that particular vessel is meeting the port entry rules. The port entry rules is very clear. Under 2012, the port entry rule says that every vessel which is coming to India must have a classification society from the IAX members or any other classification societies as approved by Government of India. And similarly, the cargo should be in, and similarly, the ship should have a P&I club which is approved, or it's an IG club or an approved P&I club of Government of India. But sadly, this has not been observed or not being complied with. Where does the fault lie if there is a mishap due to wrong declaration of cargo? Should the exporters or importers or the port authorities are to be blamed for it? No. There is no point in going on a blame game culture. It is for all of us to know the requirement of the rules, the requirement of different provisions, and it is also essential that the controlling authorities disseminate such information to all end users so that they are complied with and the casualties or accidents or incidents can be avoided. Coastal state have, I'm talking about now the non-major ports, because an accident can happen in a non-major port and the fallout can be there to a major port. During my tenure as the principal officer at MMD Cochin, I have observed one vessel which was not cleared by a non-major port or a state port eventually came to Mangalore and anchored here. Obviously, the port authorities would not give it clearance and advised him not to enter the port limits, which is correct. But with monsoon, the vessel got drifted into the port limit and thereafter grounded. So under such circumstances, what action is to be taken? How to handle such situation? It is, that means ab initio, the precaution should have been observed by the State Maritime Board before it cascades into a bigger disaster, creating problems for others. Hence, it is very essential that every authority, every constituent of the maritime ecospace must know their limitation, must know their authority, and will have to have effective coordination. Here, the registrar's fishing vessels. I understand there was an issue with respect to fishing vessels in this good port. And it is not this port which faces this problem. It is many of the fishing vessels they are a cause of lot many accidents and incidents in the past, because these vessels, sadly, the registration is not up to the mark. Their area of operation is also not well marked, and there is an ineffective coordination between the state and the central ministry so far as registration is concerned. As far as fishing vessels are concerned, it is the coastal and the state maritime boards who are supposed to look after. If there are representatives from the state maritime board, it's for them to ensure. Because very recently in one of the major port, a vessel drawing at about 40 feet plus in the channel meets an accident because of a fishing vessel crossing the bow. We are fully aware of the disputes which are still pending at different ports in the southern part of India. But how do you control them? And who controls them? And why they should be controlled? That's where the role of the state authorities come in. So my friends from state authorities need to take this into account, because day by day the fishing activity in or around our coastal waters is increasing, and day by day, as they say that we are fishing the ocean dry, so they are moving into deeper waters. Today, we have, if I may use the word, unregulated fishing culture. Well over 2 to 3 lakh fishing vessels are there within the territorial waters at any given time. So just imagine a scenario. You have at any given time, if we see the LRIT picture, we have at least 3 to 400 bigger merchant ships moving up and down the western coast, and about 2 lakh fishing vessels fishing in the same area. Unless otherwise, every constituent or every sector of the industry takes care of it, the disaster is going to happen any day. Therefore, it's the situational awareness which is most essential. The situation in or around the major ports in Gujarat will be different. The situation on the west coast will be different, and the situation on the east coast will be different, because the traffic density is different, the geographical position is different, geographical conditions are different. Therefore, one shoe fits all, or one SOP fits to all ports, is a pipe dream, or definitely is not what we are envisaging. Every port has to, every state has to create its own awareness, its own contingency planning, and its own SOPs for every particular situation happening. Therefore, the application of legislation, as I discussed, gives the authority to the coastal state, that is the district magistrate, who will be the rec receiver and who will be the officer in charge of the district of the Disaster Management Act. And so far as port is concerned, the conservator or the port authorities. So far as search and rescue is concerned, it is the ICG. So far as pollution is concerned, again it is the ICG, and beyond the coastal waters, the Coast Guard or the naval authorities. I hope the authorities from different sectors take note of the legislative powers that is vested to them, and have close coordination, so that in future we avoid such collisions, because the traffic is going to increase. We can't stop it. The geopolitical situation is going to change, and the maritime trade is going to increase. Therefore, situational awareness, application of legislation, and close cooperation are the key to address maritime adversities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insightful presentation. May I request Captain Manoj Joshi, sir, to present a memento to guest speaker, Captain L.K. Panda. Thank you, sir. Before proceeding to the next session, we would like to have a quiz session to energize the session. Now we move on to the maritime quiz. Now I request Sri Ubaidur Rahman, the surveyor in charge, MMD Bangalore, to conduct the quiz on maritime sector.
A very good morning to one and all present here. After a brainstorming session from our mentor, Sri L.K. Panda sir, let's have some fun. There is only one rule for this quiz here. All the mobiles, please, on the table. So without taking much time, let's start. The first question. What's the theme of this NMDC 2026? Please raise the hand. Whoever knows the answer, please raise the hand.
Please raise your hands if you know the answer.
Theme of NMDC 2026. Most of the questions were answered in this session only.
Anyone?
No one? Yeah, please.
Is it maritime progress?
No. No. Let me answer it. It's Maritime India, empowering progress. So our next question. Yeah. The next question. Name the flagship program for port-led development.
Sagarmala.
Raise your hands.
Raise the hand first. That's correct. Please clap.
A small moment for him. It's a basic marine. Basic.
Okay, let's go to the third question. Which vision aims to transform India into a global maritime leader by 2030? Please raise the hand. Please raise the hand.
Maritime India Vision 2030.
That's correct. See, the questions are very simple. Okay, now the fourth one. In the context of this ongoing 2026 West Asia conflict, name the first Indian flagged vessel successfully crossed the Strait of Hormuz after being stranded by a blockade. Now, one by one, just raise the hand and take the mic. Please raise the hand. Yeah. That's correct. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Okay, now everybody know the IMO's SDGs. So can anyone tell what SDG stands for? Please raise the hand. Mike. That's correct.
Price limit to only 2. Okay, next.
Okay, next is on that only. Okay, now when was the first National Maritime Day celebrated? Please raise the hand and
5th April 1964.
That's correct. Now everybody knows this date and all, which vessel crossed. Now, which was the port? Name the ports from where it started and where it ended.
The first vessel, sir. That was the SSL Loyalty from Mumbai to London.
Yeah,
in
that's
1919.
correct. Yeah, that's correct. Now the eighth question. The Day of the Seafarer is celebrated every year. Okay, now that everybody knows. Now, When and under which resolution this was established? The Day of the Seafarer. First, you can tell me the date. Which date it is celebrated? The Day of the Seafarer. Raise hand and
25th June.
that's correct. And under which resolution?
That I don't know.
It was resolution 19 of 2010 Manila Conference. Now the ninth one. Named a 40,000 vessel to call New Mangalore Port. Okay, that everybody knows. I know that. Now tell me the date on which this milestone was achieved. Full date, not 26th. That's correct. Okay, now the last one. I hope everybody is enjoying. Now the last one. What is the name of the naval operation under which Indian flag vessels were escorted through the Gulf of Oman? This conflict only. No. No.
Anyone else?
Yeah, please.
Any clue, sir?
Is it Operation Urja?
That's correct. It's half Operation Urja Suraksha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for conducting brainstorming and engaging session.
By the way, these gifts are 24 karat gold. Please keep it. People might think it's a brass.
And we must thank Captain Manoj Joshi, sir, for introducing this session during this workshop. A round of applause to our Captain Manoj Joshi for having this session. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Now we will move on to the final session. Indian Port Act 2025, passed by the Parliament in late 2025, replaces the colonial era Indian Port Act of 1908 to modernize governance of India's 12 major and 200 plus non-major ports. It strengthens the Maritime State Development Council MSDC, promotes digital integration through the maritime single window and enhances safety, environmental compliances, MARPOL and dispute resolution. To enlighten on this Indian Port Act 2025, we have with us a right person who is well versed with the subject, Captain Anand Karkare, ex-Deputy Conservator of Mumbai Port Authority. Before I request sir to... Now I spelled it correct, pronounce it correct. This is a brief biodata of Captain Anand Karkare. Yeah. Captain Anand Karkare, a distinguished Master Mariner, is a graduate in economics and a fellow of the Narottam Mukherjee Institute of Shipping. Morarji, right? Yeah. With an illustrious maritime career, he has commanded a wide range of vessels and subsequently served in the pilotage service of Mumbai Port Trust, raising to the esteemed position of Deputy Conservator. Captain Anand Karkare retired as Deputy Conservator of Mumbai Port Authority and continued to contribute as Advisor Marine to the authority until 2022. He also served on deputation as Chief Port Officer with the Maharashtra Maritime Board. He is presently engaged in the development of port infrastructure in Maharashtra, continuing to contribute his vast expertise to the maritime sector. Now, friends, let us welcome Captain Anand Karkare to deliver his address.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. I am honored to have been invited over here in this August gathering. Thankful to Deputy Chairperson and the officials of NMBT. I would like to bring in the presentation. So what I will do is that as I progress, the first is that how the Indian Port Act of 1908 came about, and then subsequently how it got transformed into the Indian Port Act of 2025. See, this is what one just want to. It is a just of the historical interest. So this is what the evolution of Indian port legislation. Initially, like as you know, that this is the pre 1908. Then 19 actual act came in 1908, and the subsequent now the 2025 Indian Ports Act has come about. See what was it before 1908? There were three presidencies British rule, that is Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. So each one had a kind of a fragmented rules and the regulations, and because of that, there used to be always a kind of a conflict in transporting of cargo, the ships, and various issues were there. So in order to address this, the Indian Port Act of 1908 came into being, and this was a single framework unifying rules for operation, safety standards, revenue generation, and the governance structure. Now, this act, it was applies to non-major ports and major ports, both that is called as notified ports. So, in the brief, they established comprehensive rules for managing port operation, infrastructure, and administrative. Now, this safety of ships through pilotage rules, signaling system, and accident prevention measures. Now, in this one, I would like to bring in, those days, there was no walkie-talkie or VHF communication. So, it is the information about the ship message that the ship can arrive in the port, and when the ship arrives in the port, those flags, what you call, see the semaphore flags or the signaling system, actually those used to be used. My colleague, Captain Manoj Joshi, may be aware of it. Like in Mumbai, till as late as till 1980, the pilot used to pass on the order to the tugs by the whistle. So that is what the signaling system came about. So slowly how we have progressed about. So this was a signaling system was important. Like when the ship comes, then when the ship has to berth, the typical flag is to be hoisted at the signal mast of the port. So that was the signal system and accident prevention measures. The port dues and revenue. So this was each port by act they were allowed to collect the revenue like port dues, charges, pilotage charges, and any other penalties for the violation. This Section 6 of Indian Port Act, and particularly Section 6K subsection, that was the most common often used section for formulating of the rules. And as per the evolving maritime needs, under this, we used to, though the Indian Port Act had become not up to the current area, we were using this Section 6 subsection for making rules in the port. Now, see, in the Indian Port Act, the conservators of the port, that is either the Board of Trustees, in case of the port, minor ports, non-major ports, it is the port officer, or if there is a board, then it is a chief executive officer on that particular board. That is what the conservator is. And some of the infrastructure, this particular one was maintained or mentioned in the act for the purpose of giving the responsibility to the ports to maintain these docks, and also there was a penalty if there was any damage to the docks or the structures of the port. Again, I'm repeating the same port dues and pilotage charges, the strict rules for pilotage, anchoring, berthing, and what I had explained earlier, same mandatory signaling system for navigation and safety. Now, health, safety, and environment. That time it was a minimal, but if you consider 1908, that when the act came into being, that time there was a fear of epidemic like plague and cholera. So that's why, like when you when you used to read, so we used to wonder why this kind of rules, like airing of beds, then the making compulsory for the people, seamen on board the vessel to follow certain norms. So basically, it was for that. Now, this one, in short, what this Indian Port Act came about, the act was consolidated a fragmented legal system into a single comprehensive. It embedded pioneering provisions for public health, strict quarantine protocols. That is, the quarantine ship used to be kept in a separate anchorage, banning of dumping of ballast and oil, and the foundation for reform was served as a bedrock for maritime law for over a century and is the foundation of IPA 2025. So the 2025 is actually a development or the progress towards considering the modern era. Now, as you know, like it has represented just now, earlier also it was mentioned that the government has realized the ports are silent engines of Indian economic growth and sustenance, and contribution is almost 95% and 70% by value. Here I would like to bring in that maritime vision and Niti Aayog. I was one of the group member of this Niti Aayog on the blue economy, working group 10. So in that, a lot of thought process had gone about what is required for a development for the port and how will it come into about. So the effective development or any of the change what you have to bring in, it can be implemented only if it is represented by the act or the specific power is given by the act. So after considering that, revisiting entire this, all the ports acts, the changes, this is all only after that, the Major Porters Act, Merchant Shipping Act, and the Indian Ports Act. So all these have undergone the change. Indian Port Act. So this particular one, like as of today, the Indian Port Act 1908 was in force till yesterday. And today, from that is the 1st April, the Indian Port Act 2025 has come into the effect. That is what is about. So from today onwards, all the actions, whatever is to be taken, is according to the Indian Ports Act of 2025. So that is what it is about. Now, what is the main thing about the Indian Ports Act 2025? It provides a comprehensive framework for the governance, development, and regulation of ports aligning with global maritime standards and environmental conventions. Now, here, in this one, the main thing is that major parts like a conservator's duties, then the port limits, then the whatever the construction, the civil construction, the penalties for damaging, all those kind of things from the 1908 have remained more or less same in 2025. But particularly the aligning with global maritime standard and environmental conventions, that is what is the major change about in the Indian Ports Act of 2025. Now it promotes the integrated port development, ease of doing business, and cooperative federalism between the state and center, coastal states and center. So this particular one is, I'll come down later on, that is because of the Maritime State Development Council. So Maritime State Development Council is chaired by the Minister of Port Shipping and Waterways and the Secretary of the Shipping, that is Port Shipping of the central government, is the member secretary of that council. So the role of the creation of Maritime State Development Council is to coordinate national port policies. So whatever the port policy is there, so first it is taken for the discussion and then it is afterwards it has come into the actually enforcement. So this emphasis on environmental protection, pollution control, and also the disaster management. I'll come down to further on this one, that by the act, the compliance with international conventions such as MARPOL and the ballast water management has come into the act. So because of that, now it is a mandatory for the ships as well as for the ports to comply with the guidelines. Now, the other thing, what is introduction of digitalization, transparency in port operations, and the overall is that aim of this Indian Ports Act is to make it a more sustainable and efficient operations of the port. Now, what is the key structural differences between the Indian Ports Act and 2025? Earlier, governance was a heavy reliance on local state governments and individual port trusts. But now, what is there? The centralized oversight through Maritime State Development Council, then regulatory bodies, no unified national regulatory authority for non-major ports. Now, the Maritime Board has been established and it has been made mandatory for all the coastal states to have a maritime board. Now, as of today, almost all the coastal states have got a maritime board. Now, role of states in the Indian Port Act was limited, but whereas in Indian Ports Act 2025, the maritime state, that maritime board has got a representation on the MSDC, that is Maritime State Development Council. So there is interaction among all the stakeholders for this particular to make the rules. Now, environmental focus. Earlier, there was a minimal was the environment, except that banning of ballast and oil. But now it is a complete holistic port ecosystem, strong emphasis on the green ports, pollution control, and the waste management. So this significantly earlier the outdated fines were there, but now it has increased. Now it's not index, actually, it is wrong. That is, no, it is often tied to the scale of violation for user and provider. The conflict resolution. This is the most important change in the Indian Ports Act. That is, earlier it was a civil court system, but that used to take a long time. So instead of that, now the adjudicatory board is there for faster dispute resolution. It is for the major ports as well as for the non-major ports, that is minor ports, for the state government, which are under the maritime boards. Earlier, the MSDC, this is what I'm coming down to highlighting each area. MSDC existed as advisory board since 1997. So some of the things of MSDC was the path breaking was the Sagarmala. That was one of the main thing, but those it was just consultative and guiding. But whereas by bringing MSDC into the act, it has got more power and to give out in the introduction of regulations and the guideline MSDC will provide, that is to be followed by all the maritime states and the major ports. So MSDC, that's what I said. It is the integrated planning and drives port-led economic growth. Now, primary aim is to optimize management utilization of coastline national development priorities and the issue of national security. So the act in this one has come out with all encompassing the issues of the ports operation. The act makes the NPP, that is National Perspective Plan, a statutory requirement. Earlier, what used to happen was that the development used to be in the short bits and pieces. Say, for instance, a port which is close by, that one port is developing and it is winning away the traffic of the another port. So that it is a duplication of the infrastructure, is duplication of the financial burden, expenditure. So this particular one, National Perspective Plan, will take into account the entire requirement of the trade, what is it required, and how to coordinate among the states and the coastal states and the major ports. Though the NPB serves as a master framework for connecting port capacity, industrial growth, and the coastal community development. But this one has been embedded into the law, and the government can coordinate efforts between the ports, inland logistics, and industrial zone more effectively. The Statutory Requirement Act makes the National Perspective Plan mandatory, aligning the major port and coastal development within the nationally approved long-term plan. Master framework connects the port capacity, coordinated efforts, and uniform classification. Now, this is what it is, adjudication of disputes. Now, Indian Port Act introduces a clear legal framework. Now, dispute of related to ports, something that was largely absent in the Indian Port Act. Clause 16 is a dedicated mechanism, and in this one, there is a faster resolution, because if there is any dispute among the stakeholders in the port, like port authorities, concessionaire, any other stakeholders, it has to be resolved within 6 months, and the maximum outward limit is 12 months. And the appeal, if suppose the firm or a aggrieved party is not satisfied with the dispute redressal committee, then the appeal can be made only to the High Court. So that way, it's a long delayed process in the civil lower courts. It is avoided. The written before modern shipping technology enhance safety and security. So modern legislation, strict compliance with the International Maritime Organization, mandatory reporting of maritime incidences and accidents, updated port facility security. That is the important aspect. Earlier it was a code what was to be followed, but now this has brought into the act. Every port shall frame this is another one, emergency preparedness and response plan. So earlier each port was directed to form a plan, but it was not backed by the act. But after this particular Indian Port Act has come into implementation, it is a responsibility of each port to form a plan. That in bracket what I written is section 66. Prevention of pollution. The 2025 Act explicitly mandates that ports provide reception facilities for discharge of oily mixtures, sewage, and garbage from the ships. So earlier the DG Shipping, the Captain Panda, he's the one he used to send the circulars to Mumbai port. So, but now it has come by the act. So it is a responsibility again, the port, whether it is a minor port or a major port, or the maritime board who is overlooking the operations of the non-major port, it is their duty to ensure that all the ports have this particular plan. The aligns Indian law with the MARPOL 73-78. So this one has been taken into account. Penalties for environmental violations, and these are quite rigid and quite high compared to the old Indian Port Act. And another one is a periodical audit for compliance. So earlier it was not compulsory or not followed, but now it is to be done at the periodical time by the external agency. So this is what it is. Act makes a legal duty for every port to prevent pollution, mandatory reception facilities, and the strict licensing and inspection. Ships and port operators must comply with the specified environmental norms. Port can inspect and penalize violations. So in case if the ship has come in the port, like this one is done by the port state control also, but even the port, in case they feel that the ship doesn't have the particularly as pollution control measures, they can report it to the DG Shipping. Ban on harmful discharges. So this is a normal green port initiatives. Now, just now we heard that NMPT has gone into the solar energy. Even for that matter, quite a lot of major ports have resorted to solar as well as the wind energy, and converting into the green energy for the ports. So once what is the thing like regarding the pollution? Why I'm highlighting about the pollution and the waste reception and mainly is because the other aspects of Indian Ports Act is repetitive or the same, more or less same, but whereas this particular one has come into and is additional into the Indian Port Act, and which has to be taken note of. So provisions is the port level environmental monitoring system for water. This has been made mandatory because earlier the MPCB or the other ones used to direct the port under the consent to operate, but now it is mandatory by the Act. Pollution incident reporting. ports must report to the State Maritime Board and central authorities within the prescribed timelines. Response responsibility in pollution. Each port must prepare, again I'm repeating the same thing, port officials are responsible for immediate containment. Now the burden of, in case if there is a pollution, like Captain Panda had said, that if the pollution comes into the port, it has occurred somewhere else, and it has come into the port, you cannot just wash your hands and saying that that pollution, we didn't have it, it has come from outside, so somebody else should look after. It is not that. Whenever there is a risk is there, you have to tackle that. So it is a must for a port to manage and contain the pollution. So the IPA makes a decisive move from a mere port management to environmental stewardship and gives statutory alignment with the international conventions. So this is what is the sustainable development goals. That was it is. Protection of marine ecosystems around Indian waters and enhance disaster readiness and resilience in port operations. So modernized penalty structure. Fines remain unchanged for over a century, outdated schedule of offences. Whereas there is this one new framework, drastic overhaul of schedule, categorizes offences based on the severity, introduces fines reaching lakhs, providing a genuine deterrent for large-scale commercial operations. Now, remedy under IPA. So, I will come to this particular next slide. Unpaid duties, you have a lien on vessel, hold, sell vessel to recover charges. Vessel abandon, power under the Act, authority to remove, dispose. Remedy, clear port area, recover cost from owner or insurance. Company under NCLT, lien continues as a statutory charge. Priority recovery before unsecured creditors. So in this one, I'll come to, like Captain Doshi will be aware, we had a peculiar issues in Mumbai port that Tag Offshore was, and a great offshore agency, they had declared them as they were under NCLT, and their ships, the tugs were there, abandoned and lying about. And we had the problem of looking after that. So how do we, because NCLT, since the company had declared the bankruptcy, the company as such was in the NCLT, whereas here it is given a clear guideline that we as a port have a priority before unsecured creditors. So if NCLT, even if it gives the requirement with the claim, the others, the priority of charges, because charges of the port are under the statute, that means under the Act. So we require, means we have the line of claimant, we are the first one. Environmental safeties and safety threat. So order removal of or disposal, ensure navigation and environmental safety. Coordination with insolvency proceeding, NCLT, this is what it is there. This is what I was talking of. Company declares bankruptcy under NCLT. Ship is detained by the port. The company declares bankruptcy. This is often in case of major ports, like where all the supply vessels are anchored and they just get abandoned. So this was a kind of a issue which was with the Mumbai port. Ship is arrested by the port, Indian Ports Act 2005, vessel detained. The key provisions of Indian Port Act: detention and lien for port dues, sale of vessel, recovery of dues, and court interpretation and judicial balance. So under the Indian Banking Code, Section 14, the possess recovery action, port statutory claim against the vessel. Now here, what is the legal outcome? So NCLT moratorium applies, but the post arrest and dues recovery prevail. Ports, now what is we had a peculiar case, like when we had in Mumbai port, this issue was there. Mumbai port actually approached Admiralty Court, and we brought to their notice that even if the company is under NCLT, our charges are there. So Admiralty bar Admiralty action in rem against the vessel. So here what has been treated as a vessel is different, that is in rem, and the company is different. So it is taken as a separate one. Courts harmonize both the regimes, ports can request statutory dues while insolvency continues under NCLT supervision. Interaction between IPA 2025 and MPA. The Indian Port Act serves as an umbrella ensuring the harmonized policy, environmental and safety standard, both major and non-major ports. The Major Port Authority Act continues to govern the internal management of the port, major port, but it has to be under the National Maritime Policy under the 2025. Both acts are designed to function complementary and not in conflict, together steering India's blue economy and port-led development. So, in short, the Major Port Authorities Act 2021 governs how major ports are managed, and Indian Port Act governs how all ports, major, non-major, are regulated and developed and coordinated nationally. So, next, that is it.
Thank you very much, sir, for highlighting various provisions of newly implemented Indian Port Act 2025. May I request our Captain Manoj Joshi, sir, to present a memento to Captain Anand Karkere. Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Now we will have a question and answer session. If audience have got any questions, they can ask.
So friends, प्रोग्राम थोड़ा लेट स्टार्ट हुआ तो सबके ऊपर प्रेशर था, तो प्रेशर इतना जोर का रहा, सबने कट शॉर्ट किया, तो अभी हम लोग को टाइम बच गया. सो नाउ इट इज़ सजेशन फ्रॉम माय सीनियर कैप्टन पांडा. ही सेड ये भारत देश है, यहाँ पर कोई भी ज्ञान संवाद से दिया जाता है. भगवत गीता है अर्जुन और श्री कृष्ण के बीच में, भागवतम है सुखदेव गोस्वामी और परीक्षित महाराज. तो आज भी हम यहाँ पर संवाद करेंगे. यदि आपके कुछ सवाल हैं तो आज मैं मंच पे आमंत्रित कर रहा हूँ हमारे दोनों गेस्ट स्पीकर्स, कैप्टन करकरे, कैप्टन पांडा. मंत्रालय के साथ आपके बड़ी दुख होते हैं कभी कभी, तो हमें हमारे बीच में एक मंत्रालय के पुराने कर्मचारी भी हैं, वो संयुक्त सचिव रैंक से रिटायर हैं, अश्वथ जी. तो मैं उनको भी रिक्वेस्ट करूँगा कि आप भी मंच पर आसीन हो. हमारी उपाध्यक्ष महोदया शांति जी, आपसे ज़्यादा सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे आप, लेकिन फिर भी आप अगर आ जाएंगे तो हमें अच्छा लगेगा मैडम. और एक व्यक्ति हैं जो सबसे सवाल पूछते हैं, आज आप उनसे सवाल पूछ पाएंगे, एमएमडी सर्वेयर रहमान.
I request the eminent speaker, Captain L.K. Panda, Captain Anand Karkare, Deputy Chairperson Madam, and Ashwath sir, and Surveyor in charge MMD, please take the seat on the dais. Now we will have a question and answer session.
So, forum is open. You can ask your question. First, you have to address to whom your question is.
Good afternoon, sirs. So the question is open to you, or anybody can answer. See, now that ongoing war is going on. So can you just tell us what is the IMO's action to safeguard those vessels passing through this Hormuz? So in short, because we cannot heard anything from IMO, their actions. So can you educate on this, please? Thank you.
See, so far as IMO is concerned, IMO makes regulation with respect to safety of ship and with respect to safety of marine environment. Here the question is that though Iran says that they have not officially closed Hormuz, anybody can go. And at the same time, the others say that the insurance premium has gone up so much that the ships are nobody is giving them insurance. And no ship owner would like to pass the strait without insurance. So, in my opinion, and otherwise also, IMO very recently has clarified that they don't have direct responsibility on these issues because it is not impacting the safety of the ship or the marine environment as such. It's purely a commercial matter and a dispute resolutions between the states. That's all.
Any questions?
Captain Panda, you had mentioned that ship in CII category E. So if vessels don't meet and come into that category, they will possibly start trading in the Asian region. 10 years back, we said ships with very poor post-trade control records did the same. So question to either you or to the MMD surveyor, what can we do to prevent something like that happening? That these kind of vessels trade in Asian waters?
Yes, category E are those vessels which must meet requirement under the CII, that is reflected in the IAPP International Air Pollution Prevention Certificate. Now, those ships definitely they can't go to Europe because Europe has increased its sensitivity. They can't go to so many other places. So obviously they will go to those places where the inspection regime or the control regime is relatively less. Though we have a central body that is the DG Shipping and its offices around the coast of India who are authorized to do the port state control inspection, but nevertheless, it doesn't stop the other entities to bring it to the notice of the MMDs, such as if the major port authorities see a vessel not complying because of the fumes and things like that, or the engine stack, they can definitely report to MMD and MMD will carry out the inspection because these issues cannot be delegated to somebody. So it has to be inspected by the ship. So every entity can bring such information to the central government authority, that is the MMDs, who will definitely inspect and detain if required be.
Thank you, sir.
So just to add on, since with this we hear from Captain Panda, who has been ex-nautical surveyor. Can we hear the latest from Mr. Rahman also, if you want to add something on the same question?
Same thing, like we have a very strong PSC regime here. We have that IOMOU website where we monitor all the vessels who are coming here. So we see their track records, how they perform, what is their previous deficiencies and all. If anything is there, we 100% we board the vessel.
Is it under the purview of port-state control for CII category?
Yeah, we see that.
Okay, now Mr. Aswath has requested, he has to say something on the same point, sir? Same question?
No, I would like to say something. I would like to add something to what Captain Karkare had made a presentation. This Indian Ports Act was not easy to pass, means Indian Act Ports Bill, because I was in the ministry and it took more than 10 years to convince the states what is the use for the states because of this Indian Ports Act. Because all along they were of the view that the center is trying to dominate the scene. They want to take a major role and diminish the role of the states. But it is not so, like Captain Karkare explained, whether it is in terms of the pollution or having a better control over the maritime activities in the state. This was a necessary. We have received from the chief minister level some protest that why you are bringing such a bill which will overrule the role of the states like that. So especially in MARPOL, maritime pollution, where nobody knows whose fault is this, because the sea belongs to everybody. The water belongs to everybody. But when it gets polluted, who is responsible? How to fix them? So this was the main agenda which was there in the center, this thing. And also this maritime boards. We tried more than 10 years to form a maritime board so that like we have in major ports, the individual boards are there. They are successfully overlooking. Suppose, for example, our New Mangalore port, if you are seeing, because the new Major Port Authority Act was passed, and there is a role for the chairperson, the deputy chairperson, the functioning has been very smooth without any this thing. We have surpassed even this 50 million tons without the chairman is not in position, and there is an acting chairman. Still, it went ahead because of the dedication of the deputy chairperson and other officers, HODs and all. So such kind of board was necessary in each state. So now it is formed, and we are thinking that the state governments have major role to play, and in the coming years with this Indian Ports Act, the functioning will be smooth, and we will expect more contribution from the states. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Since mic is in your hand, and you have been a very high-ranking official in the government of India, and especially you have been in port development advisor. So as we are hearing again and again, port-led development and all, if you can throw some light on that so that the gathering can benefit from that, and if any particular scheme which these people can take benefit of, that also you can bring out.
This port-led government has been in it is there since 15 years. So primarily the Gujarat government, it was coined by our Honorable Prime Minister when he was Chief Minister there. And this port-led development means, when earlier we were thinking that the port is there, the stakeholders should come and take their cargo for export or import. That used to be the position. Now a new concept, because port is there, you have to develop some industries. So the industry may be petrochemical industry or the textile industry, as you see in Tamil Nadu, or any other industry. So in JNPA, we introduced this concept rigorously, and we formed the special economic zone, through which more than around 40,000 acres of land we have given for SEZ, and so that so many industries have come up, whether it is storage, manufacturing, all these things came up because you have a port. Port-led development is necessary for economic growth. That concept has come into place. And Gujarat, as you can see, it handles more than around 450 million tons of cargo as of now. And it has developed more than around 50 non-major ports. All this has happened because there the concept has been taken seriously, and we have seen the economic development there. Same way, even in the Karnataka, which has got more than around 370 kilometers of coastal line, it is lagging behind. So when we tried for this maritime board constitution, it had so many hurdles. So now that it is already formed, a senior officer heading, if he can oversee all the activities, because our port, the New Mangalore port, has been cooperating with the state government so that they can also make us the equity partner in some of the small ports. So Pavankere and other ports, we have already been in talking to the state government. So as a combined effort, we can develop these ports also, and see to it that this 375 kilometers of coastal region can be effectively used, both the waterfront as well as the land. And as regarding this, Captain Joshi told, one scheme everybody can make use of, whoever is there in the coastal region, is Sagarmala scheme. Sagarmala scheme has got around 6 pillars, other than the main pillars like connectivity and all. Even the best example is our CEMS, where we are importing training to the young people who are hardly around 17, 18 years old, and they are getting training for 3 months. And I am happy to inform you that after this training, they are already employed. This is under the Sagarmala scheme. Our young people, I am seeing, especially in Dakshina Kannada and Udupi, though they have the entrepreneurship qualities, young and energetic, they are not finding jobs. So jobs are important for earning livelihood. So our deputy chairperson has enabled this, and she gave that permission for starting this CEMS. So this has enabled at least 30 students every 3 months. They are getting jobs. This is a good news. So like that, even for our fishermen, because so many of you may not be knowing that we are constructing a fishing harbor which is going to give employment to at least around 10,000 people, directly or indirectly. So the fishermen, some of them may not be knowing how to utilize their vessels. Means it may be a net making or any other skills. So they can take training under CEMS or any other Sagarmala scheme, because they have community development scheme is there. So you can take training under that and improve your livelihood. That is the main thing. Because we government servants, we are getting every 6 months one DA. But you cannot get, the fisherman cannot get unless his skill is improved. So Sagarmala is a scheme where you can get all the benefits and see to it that it is used to the core. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any question?
My question is to Madam Deputy Chair, Madam Shanti. You mentioned about berth number 9 being revamped, and as well as berth number 17 to come. Now, as per the media reports, the berth number 9, will be projected even up to 17 meters draft.
Yes.
So now, in the event that you have going to have a 17 meters draft in the channel, that means automatically the other berths too can make use of this particular part, because at the moment MRPL berths are just around 14 meters. Our berth number 14 is also 14 meters. The same thing with the JSW. Now, the thing is, if you have to take economies of scale, why can't these particular berths also make use of this 17 meters? Because as far as the best of my knowledge goes, berth number 14 is got the capability to go. The berth construction strength, dead weight has been strengthened for 17 meters. So berth number 14 can go to 17 meters. Then we can also look in terms of whether, everybody used to say that I've had the privilege, Madam, of coming into New Mangalore Port as early as July 1976 to load coffee from Mangalore on a ship called Jalaganga to this thing. So I've seen the progress right from 1976 till today. So one question is whether whatever that is done for berth number 9, can it be for all the other ports which have got the potential? Second part is, when can we expect these particular projects to be implemented? I mean, in the sense, what you call, is there a time gap, or whether it's in a particular plan? And also the completion date for berth number 9 as well as berth number 17. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very correct. Regarding the berth number 9, shortly within a week you'll be getting the tender invited. It is already in the final stage. And coming to the draft, initially straight away we are not going to the 17 meter and all. It will start with 14 meter in the case of berth number 9. The channel is expected to go to 16 meters first in 2030, before 2035. Completion is 2035. When the channel is done with 16 meter, berth number 9, 14, 15, 16, all the 3 is planned for 16 meter. And then after the second phase, we'll be going for a 18 meter draft. That's the plan. Already in the master plan, it is being placed to the current board, and the next week it will present to the ministry for approval. In principally, because as per the new MP Act 2021, the port to do a major infrastructure should get a master plan approved. Once this is being approved, they'll be taking up all the studies necessary for the dredging.
So regarding that, you are told, Panda Sahab, you are told regarding the fishing vessels. Fishing vessels for nearby our port areas. Last time we had one of the vessel is calling, but master is refused to come because of the fishing vessels in and around, and we have to clear it. The finally we requested with them to come without see that, because you are told regarding the fishing vessels some registration requirements. I understand regarding the fisheries department is taking care of that, and fisheries department is not even the started with that regarding they told AIS also fixed with the fishing vessels. Anything is happening on that, sir, and what is the role of fisheries department is taking of that?
Initially, the fishing vessels over 24 meters in length, they were registered under the Merchant Shipping Act. Thereafter, this one was passed to Ministry of Agriculture and the Department of Fisheries. They are supposed to register these vessels. Now, why they have not been able to register these vessels, I'm not in a position to explain that. Probably because of lack of expertise or manpower, I'll not know. But the states are also registering these vessels so that these vessels get other benefits like the diesel, subsidy of diesels and MPDA and other things. So these vessels are getting registered under different act. Now coming to the AIS, yes, there was a move by the Coast Guard that every fishing vessel of 12 meters or more must have a transponder from the national security point of view. But then it was seen that the AIS was a bit more expensive. So the subsidy scheme was started. Later on, it was thought better to reduce the standard. That's how AIS B was supposed to be fitted. And to the best of my knowledge, almost 1 lakh fishermen have been provided with this AIS B. Other vessels are being slowly provided. So that more than navigational security is the national security under which this equipment is being provided.
And any consideration for AIS for any fishing vessels? Any consideration from Government of India?
I'll not be knowing. I'm sorry, I don't want to commit at this stage. But AISB, there are some states are providing financial assistance to procure these equipments. Detail I'm not aware at this stage.
Thank you.
Thank
sir.
you. We are very
And
close to the lunch time. So now last question
Sir,
from me.
one more question, sir. Ashwat sir. Sir, Ashwat sir, you are told regarding the classes are taking for the students. So in where is the center?
It is in Padambur next to Mahila Samaj.
Hello. This is the residential area, Port Colony area. Next to the guest house, one Mahila Samaj is there. Next to that building is the SENS, which we are running.
So this is the last question from me to sir. You want to answer something?
No, this is in Panambur, like Madam told, and the faculty is very good because they have brought it from Vishakhapatnam, where the main Indian Maritime University faculty is there. Some of the faculty members have come here and they are teaching the students. Those who have passed just around 12th standard or 10th standard, they can take entry into this thing. And after a minimum of around 3 months, 3 months course, they would be placed in the maritime sector in various ships and other institutes and other industry. So they are getting immediate employment. So the local people can make use of these facilities.
Correct. The last batch 100% placement, because they called in fact today is also the batch second and third valedictory function is there today at 1:30. You can go there and you can find out from there. We'll give you the corner.
No, so it is nominal only. It is not heavy.
Yeah. So this second and third today valedictory function is there. They have in fact called me at 1:30, which I don't think I'll be able to make it. So last question to Captain Karkare. As Mr. Aswath said about major port and minor port coordination, and since you have been experienced in both sides, you have seen both sides of things, you have been a chief port officer in Maharashtra Maritime Board, as well as you have worked in the major port. So anything you can tell our gathering today how they can be part of that?
See, the coordination between the major port and the non-major ports. I will give a classic example in Mumbai itself. That Mumbai port is a major port, and the adjacent ports, that is Karanja, Dharamtar, and the what you call Trombay. These are the non-major ports under the Maharashtra Maritime Board, and they are handling the cargo. The passage of these barges of these minor ports is through the Mumbai port. So, in such scenario, the close coordination between the major and minor port is required, because as I say, that each, like in this Indian Port Act, what has been specifically brought out is that each port has to have the response, means disaster management response plan, EDMP, environment disaster management response plan. Similarly, the pollution control, I mean the pollution response, like a NOSDCP, the disaster contingency plan. So this one has to be in coordination with the major port and the minor ports. As such, that is still at the thought process about, because this is been a ticklish issue with the Coast Guard, that each one port has to maintain the certain kind of inventory of the oil pollution response equipment, which is cost prohibitive for a minor port which handles just about 3 or 4 ships in a year, or say about 12 ships in a year. And then to implement the tier 1, under the tier 1, the category C, that is anchorage port, they ask you to maintain entire inventory of the equipment. So there has to be some gradation. We are, as such, since I'm looking after the development of the minor port under the Maharashtra Maritime Board. So that's what issue I've been taking up with the Coast Guard. In fact, I had a meeting there for yesterday, but it got postponed to May. So this aspect of the interaction among major and minor ports should be taken, and also how to maintain a kind of a collective equipment which can be utilized by the major and minor ports immediately when they are within the proximity. So this kind of coordinating action can take place within the ports.
Thank you very much, sir. Before I call Captain Salen for vote of thanks, I have 2 agendas. There is a very old saying, there is a man behind every successful woman. We acknowledge the presence of Mr. Ganpati Subramaniam, husband of our deputy chairperson, software engineer by profession. Thank you very much for gracing the occasion, sir. Thank you. Secondly, once I heard, please, if the dignitaries can take seats at audience, please. Thank you. So last, before I call up Salendra, I heard once Jack Ma. Everybody knows who is Jack Ma? Jack Ma is a big business from China. Somebody asked him, how you are so successful? He said, I do only one thing. I employ the people who are much smarter than me. So my job becomes very easy. Same with me. I have got a very smart team led by my Harbour Master Salendra. I'd request this team to come up on the stage so that you can see how they are. Please, Salendra. All the people, please come on the stage. Quickly. People are waiting for the lunch. Come. I request all of you to kindly give a big hand to all these team members who have not only this function, but also there have been many functions which even I was not aware of. So thank you, team, for...
DC sir also can stand for a group photograph with the marine team.
That we will do afterwards. So thank you, team. And also the Praveen and Bangeraji, please, you can also join.
Sir, adding to this team, actually, I want to tell one thing. We have reached 50 million ton. I think I am in this sport and I'm a president of steamer agents from last 20 years. And the only one factor which made this team entire year 14-meter berth was available in the port. I think every year we have going to the port, DC, sir, when is 14, when is 14, when is 14. I think MRPL people also there here, every time they're forcing it. But I'll give this all credit to this marine department. They have maintained entire year this 14-meter berth. Of course, this deputy chairman told that it is going to be 16. We are well among, definitely we are looking forward for this, madam. Thank you again from the port user side. And as all this team, 40,000 ships has come to Mangalore without agent. So please recognize the port users always. We are the agents who brought all these vessels to the Bangalore port. Thank you, Marine Department. Thank you all the port employees who was given the wonderful cooperation from last these 50 years. It's still going to be continued. Thank you very much.
Okay, I will just put a little clarification on it. Thank you very much for the encouraging word for us, and we assure you we will give you even better services near future. Thank you. With regard to 40,000 one, it was just impromptu. We were actually not planning something because agent was already on board. Your member was there to attend it. Maybe we could not call this thing because not much of time, and it was a LPG, and ma'am knows how much we were tense because a lot of reporters were there and ministry was calling, so many things were happening. So it was not a planned one. If it is a planned like this, we will never miss you. So even if it has hurted you, unconditional apology from my side. Okay, thank you. Who? No, please, it is very harsh to say that. I will not receive that with very kindness because we know how much we respect you. This is we only know. So thank you all very much for being so nice audience and being so interactive. Thank you. And
yeah, members from Marine Department, please come for a group
everybody
photo,
is come now.
Yeah, there are few people. There are few people. Yeah,
Jaldi aa jao bhai,
work
Sarma
very
mat.
hard to success of this event. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. DC sir, please join sir.
No, I'm there.
No. You have to
I
be
like
there
Mike.
in the middle.
I like Mike. So just once
Madhusudan
again.
Kundar, where is Madhusudan Kundar? सर अगर आप सेंटर में हो तो अच्छा होता है एचओडी सेंटर में रहे तो अच्छा. Okay, thank you. Now to conclude this workshop, I invite Captain Shailendra Kumar, Harbour Master, to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected Deputy Chair, Madam, distinguished Speaker, esteemed dignitary, and participant. It is my privilege to propose vote of thanks at conclusion of this insightful Maritime Seminar, which is part of 63rd Maritime Week celebration. NMPA is organizing every year this kind of workshop, maritime workshop before the monsoon. The main purpose of this workshop to deal with the rogue vessel coming in the monsoon season and also to deal with the maritime emergency. So first of all, thanks goes to our beloved Deputy Chair Madam for presiding over this function and enlightening us about maritime adversity and significance of Maritime Week celebration in the detail. On behalf of all of us, I express my heartfelt thanks to you, Madam. Our special thanks goes to Sri Darshan HV and Sri Nand Kumar for accepting our invitation and attended the function and given the provoking speech on the disaster. Our thank goes to great speaker Captain L.K. Panda and Captain Karkare for giving wonderful insight and sharing valuable knowledge, perspective and experience in involving maritime sector in the seminar. Thanks go to Sri Ubedur Rahman MMD Surveyor for conducting joyful and interesting maritime quiz. Thank you, sir. I am grateful to our respected Deputy Conservator Captain Joshi sir for guidance and direction for today's function. I thank to all participants, stakeholder, HOD, my dear colleague for their esteemed presence in gathering, whose active involvement made the seminar vibrant and productive. I also thanks to all department of NMPA for making all required arrangement for this program. And last not the least, thank goes to National Maritime Day Committee for wholeheartedly involving themselves towards success of this function. And thanks go to our Sri Chandrasekhar Palekar for successfully conducting this seminar. Before concluding, I thank one and all for being part of today's function. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for thanking everyone.
And also, sorry, I also thanks for coming here and covering this full seminar to all media who have present here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, last but not the least, for the port users, has there been anything on this 40,000th vessel? Really sorry. As he said, they were reporters on some other issue, so we thought we should not leave the reporters alone in the vessel. So we thought this is to club the occasion. That was the reason. And taking into account that 3-4 years have not been heard, from this month onwards, this financial year onwards, we'll be having a port user meeting on every second Monday of the month. That will be held by the traffic department, where deputy chairman or chairman and all the HODs will be present there. Thank you.
It's already started. Now we are seeing that we are heard, and that is how the gathering under the leadership of Manor Captain Joshi, we are so heartedly involved in all the functions. All the people are there. It's already showing. Thank you very much, madam. We are with you always.
Friends, before we wind up, I request everyone kindly rise for the national anthem. Thank you all for your participation and making this seminar a grand success. Please proceed for lunch, and those who have not collected the participation certificate, please collect at the counter, registration desk.
you.